Entrepreneurs, get ready. Get ready. Turn this up. Welcome to the Impact Over Everything podcast with Beez and Van. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Let's get to it.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Beez, and welcome again to the Impact Over Everything podcast, where we challenge everything.
We stand for something so we don't fall for anything. Man, I'm excited, man, for this podcast, bro. I'm excited.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am excited too. My guy Van here. Listen, Van Taylor, Mr. Go All In. Your guy right here, Beez, the business builder himself. Listen, we coming together right now for something special, something real special, right? You know, Van gave me the green light. He told me that I could challenge everything that I want on here, and that's what I love. So I'm excited. I'm excited to help all entrepreneurs to show that we really are focused on impact over everything. And we want to make sure that everyone knows that people are going to tell you all types of things that you should and shouldn't do, but we hope that you challenge them and prove it for yourself on what you can do. You feel me?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely, man. And standing for something is important, because if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. So as part of entrepreneurship, we're going to show you guys how in your entrepreneurship journey, when you're standing for something that you believe in and you standing for something firm, you'll never fall for anything. And a lot of times in entrepreneurship, we get sidetracked because we're not consistently focused on the things that we want to do. And then also what Beez was saying, you know, you got to challenge things, because a lot of people will tell you a lot of different things of how you should run your business, how you should operate within your community. And a lot of times people just take things for face value. And my man Beez is he loves to challenge everything. And one of the things that he loves to challenge is, what's that saying, man, that everybody gets wrong, that they never leave out, that they always leave out the ending part of that quote.
That is the truth. Listen, everybody knows a jack of all trades is a master of none. Well, there's actually an ending to that, and that is, but oftentimes better than a master of one. Right? And why do we say that? Why is the quote actually, you know, concludes with that emphasis? Is because as a jack of all trades, you're figuring that, okay, I'm gonna be in multiple things, so I can't really focus on making something great. But listen, the truth of the matter is, when you look at some of the most successful people in the world, maybe they didn't even finish college, for example, but they hired those who did. Right? So you don't have to be an expert in every single thing, or you don't have to be an expert in any one thing. You can also hire experts to handle those specific areas. Warren Buffett is one of my, I want to say mentor, because he doesn't know me, but he's a mentor anyway, because I try to emulate some of the things that he's done. And when he acquires new companies, one of his mantra is that, listen, those people are the experts, the specialists in specific areas. And everybody just comes to me and says, hey, okay, what should we do now to switch around the company now that you purchased? And he's like, no, you guys do what you're going to do, right? You're the expert in that field. I'm hiring you. I'm the businessman. I'm that entrepreneur, and I'm going to put everything together. So if anything, you got to be an expert in seeing the big picture. That's the only thing that I say. But listen, you can do multiple things. That's all that I'm really trying to get across here. You can do multiple things. It's just a matter of how you do it, how you execute it, right? How do you balance it? But don't let anybody tell you that you can't. In the very least, make sure you're doing something. Don't sit back and do nothing. So listen, all I'm saying is that whatever you choose to do, you can do multiple things. You can do one thing if you prefer. Whatever you do, though, don't sit back and do nothing. All right, you got to make something happen. Van, what you thinking?
You know me, I'm thinking all in. You know, that's why they call me Van Taylor, Mr. All In, is because at several different times in my life, I had to jump off the boat with no life jacket. And that was what gave me the ability to be successful. So when it comes to multiple things, or even starting at one thing, because obviously to have multiple things, you got to start one thing first. You just got to go all in on that one thing, and then it could turn into 2 things, 3 things, 4 things. But don't have a net. You know, speaking of, you know, mentors, one of my mentors told me that, you know, no net. He doesn't respect the person that is at the circus doing the tight roping that has a net underneath them, because if they fall, they got that net to save them. I'm gonna respect the dude that's walking that tightrope where they ain't got no net. So if he fall, he gonna die. So he gotta make it across. So if we have that same mentality when it comes to everything in our life, business, relationships, partnerships, you know, how we deal with the community, you are all in on those things, then that's when you're successful. So I agree, man. And like it goes back to what we were saying before, we gotta really just do it for impact, you know, and impact is, there are a lot of different segments of that, right? You could talk about impact directly with your family, right? And I'm doing this to impact my kids to where I can give my kids to go to the best schools, or have my kids to be able to not have to grow up the same way that I grew up dealing with certain challenges, right? So that could be the first level of impact. Then you got the next level of impact. Okay, how is this going to affect my community where I live? You know, 5-10 mile radius from my house, you know, 30 miles, my city I live in, my area code, my zip code. How is this going to affect them? And then how can this affect the state, the country? And then when we get on those real high level conversations, how could this affect the world globally? Because like that guy you talked about, Warren Buffett, he's doing things that impact, you know, the whole world, let alone his community and his direct family. So yeah, man, I love it.
For sure. And you know what I'll say, that one thing that's important to remember is that impacting yourself first, right? So, you know, when you're on the like on an airplane, and then they say if the mask, if oxygen depletes and the mask come out, you got to put on your mask first before helping kids and whoever near you. I used to be like, what? That's terrible. How would you tell somebody to do that, right? Like, that was my first thought when I was younger. But as you know, go through life, you realize the true meaning behind that. How can you help someone else? How can you give them oxygen if you can't even breathe yourself yet, right? And to me, as an entrepreneur, it starts with that mindset shift, right? Because that mindset of saying, yeah, I'm not just doing this for the money alone, right? I'm doing this for the freedom. I'm doing this for the impact that it's going to have on my life, so that I can then also impact my family. Then I can impact the community. Then I can impact others. So I feel like it does start with yourself first, right? You got to focus on yourself. And this is why, listen, another thing we challenge in is the norm that we can only talk about one thing on a podcast, right? And to be an entrepreneur, there's so much things involved, right? Including our health and our wellness. You know, the stress that we have, the things that we have to endure, if our mind ain't right, if our body ain't right, if our spirit ain't right, boy, it's just gonna make it harder. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's gonna make it harder. So you got to take that holistic approach to impacting yourself, impacting your family, community, the world, right? And then, you know, I don't 100% know if everybody feels the same way about this part, but I used to always think to myself, like, after I'm gone, you know, what type of legacy do I leave? What type of mark do I leave on the world, right? And I don't know, that to me, that became something that's a driving force. It was like, all right, I got to make sure that my kids are right. I got to make sure that they're not just set. It's not just about money. It's about that education, that information, right? So they know how to make the proper decisions for themselves going forward. But then beyond that, I want to leave an impact on the world. I want to leave, you know, our lives are so short, right? So I want to leave an impact on the world when I leave. I want to leave an impact on, you know, kids, so that they have a head start going into their future. Those things are important to me. And you just have to figure out what's important to you so that you can execute on it. And being an entrepreneur is one of the best ways to do it, in my opinion.
Yes, sir. So fitness, right? You talk about fitness, mental health. You talk about trauma that you've gone through in your life, you know, whether it was a kid or young adult or even in adulthood. And then it's about finding your, you know, that quote unquote purpose, right? Being authentic to you. Now I want to put all of that in a little bubble and shake it around and spit a couple of the things out when it comes to those things. Fitness is important. A lot of times we have successful entrepreneurs. They're not working out. They're not eating right. They're not even focused on it at all, but they have a lot of money, right? And they could even be impacting people. But just imagine how much more impact they would have if they had more clarity of the mind by getting rid of the toxins in their body, if they worked out and had those endorphins going within their body, if they weren't, overweight, or, even people that aren't overweight necessarily, that still don't work out, that still don't meditate, that still don't do all those things, how much more of a high performer they would be if they did those things. So we're going to shed some light on those things continuously when it comes to that. Now let's talk about the trauma. A lot of times we go through things as kids with our parents, not having parents, siblings, not having siblings, things that we went through, colleges that we've went through, jobs that we've had as older, dealing with maybe discrimination at the job, or dealing with the politics, or if you're a woman, dealing with sexual harassment. Like, all of those things like affect people's success when it comes to entrepreneurship, comes to actually wanting to start a business, wanting to maybe fire that boss, maybe wanting to jump out and do a side business. So how do we get past all of those things? We're going to shed light on a lot of those different topics, and challenging the status quo is something that we're going to continuously do. And I'm excited about that, because there's a lot of things out there that we just accept because somebody said it, and it might be somebody that's successful said it, and we just accept it as truth, when there's different sides of every single argument, and we want to bring those things to the table, man. So I'm excited, man. We not gonna be in a box in this podcast, right, Beez? We ain't putting ourselves in a little box, are we?
That's right, man. Hey, listen, you know why people put themselves in the box, especially when they start a podcast or pretty much almost anything else, is because their ultimate goal is they want to have what most consider success, right? I don't think we collectively are doing this podcast for success, right? We got our businesses, we got things going. This podcast is for impact, right? It's not because, hey, I want to make sure that we could get to the top of the charts in whatever category of this podcast or something. Oh, I want to make sure we can monetize and make some money and blah, 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 because we need that money. Hey, neither one of us is rich. We well off, but it ain't about the money for us. It's about, if we can inspire, if we can, help someone get through a particular incident that they're going through because they didn't have anyone else, right? For a good while in the beginning of being an entrepreneur, I had nobody. When I say I had nobody, I mean I had no one who could understand what I was going through, right? I had friends, I had all the, family, whatever, but they didn't understand what I was going through. And I had no one to talk to about the challenges, the successes as well of the things that was going on. I told somebody how, I think it was a business deal that went through. No, it was in e-commerce, and it was a specific product that I was selling. It was the first product that made $1 million. And I was ecstatic. $1 million? Like, whoa, what? It's like, yo, I sold this. I had no one that could even understand that. They thought I was either bragging or they thought it was something else. And I'm like, no, I'm just excited. I don't even know what to do next. You know what I mean? And getting that clarity of what to do next. Once you achieve a little bit of success, you have to kind of stumble through the rest on your own, right? That's the life of an entrepreneur. But I think times are changing, the same way I had that feeling. I think you and I spoke before, Van, and you had that feeling too, right? At some point in your life. And I've spoke with other entrepreneurs who also had that feeling at some point in their journey, right? But we ain't realized that everyone is having that feeling. Everyone's going through it. So we're here to talk about things like that. We're here to challenge the norm. We're here to go into every aspect of being an entrepreneur and what that journey really looks like, and how we can impact the world. So yeah, this is gonna be exciting, man. A lot to talk about.
Absolutely, man. So listen, guys, we not holding nothing back. We giving it a raw. We don't care who like it. You might not like it, but it's okay. We ain't for everybody. But one thing that you're gonna be able to appreciate about us is that we're gonna tell you the truth. We're gonna tell you what's on our mind, and we're gonna give it to you raw. And for those people that we are for, enjoy the ride, because this journey ain't gonna stop. We going, y'all.
Facts, man. Yes. A lot to come. Now, we will be coming at you once a week minimum, right? But because it is impact over everything, if there's something new that happened, something's going on, we ain't gonna say, hey, we can only go once a week. Nah, we're gonna drop another one if we need to, right? So, but we promise that we're gonna be consistent, but more so consistent in the message than just the frequency, right? So the message is going to be there. The some business strategy and tips will be there, right? Some mental inspiration, emotional inspiration, discussing current events so that you could figure out what next, what to do, that type of insight that helps you to figure out your next move, right? And then how to structure your businesses properly. We're going to talk about all of that. So I hope y'all stay tuned. I hope y'all keep tapping in, and I hope y'all share this podcast with everyone you know who's also going through that type of journey. Feel
Absolutely.
Me,
I definitely feel you. One thing I want to highlight is we're going to have a segment that we're going to be dedicating to entrepreneurs, and not necessarily people that you see that has already made it, quote unquote, right? On paper, they've made it. But people that are making an impact in their communities, people that are making an impact with their tribe of people that they're delivering their services to, products, etc., philanthropy, whatever the case may be. We're going to be highlighting entrepreneurs on our episodes, giving them their flowers and giving you guys the information about how you guys can tap into these people and really, give them the support that they should have because of the impact that they're already making within their communities. Let's talk a little bit about that, Beez.
For sure. So yeah, that's going to be important because that actually supports one of the central tenets of this entire podcast, right? So we talk about impact over everything. We talk about how we're, the journey of an entrepreneur. But one of the most important things that we have been focusing on recently has been collaboration over competition, right? So that's like a central tenet of this entire podcast. It's a central tenet of the things that Van and I believe and that we implement within our daily lives, within our businesses and everything, right? Collaboration over competition. That's why me and Van are coming together for this podcast. He could have did it without me, right? He missed to go all in. He could have been just killing it, just roll with it. Got the audience already, everything. I could have did without him. I'm that business builder. I got multiple things going on. I could have just been grinding and just figure it out and just keep going. But coming together, it's even more powerful. We're trying to change the narrative that's been plaguing our communities, plaguing our people, pretty much plaguing a lot of people, to be honest, not just one specific race or anything, but that whole crab in a barrel mentality, right? One person starts doing well and then trying to climb up and rise up, and then the next crab is pulling them down. Like, no, you ain't getting out of this bucket without me, right? Like, we can't do that no more, right? We have to be honest with ourselves that did exist, still does exist. And we want to take it to the level now where we change that narrative. I'm genuinely happy for my fellow entrepreneurs that I come across, that I'm networking with, that I'm building with, and I hear that they had a success. I'm like, yo, that's awesome, right? They're more my sparring partner than they are my competitor. Even if we in the same space, what's the difference between the two, right? Competitor, I'm competing with, I want to get over him. I want to do better than him. My sparring partner is inspiring me, right? Floyd Mayweather, he ain't getting so good because he's just practicing. He's just out there training on his own. He was like, yo, I'm a spar. I got this dude. I may be the total package. Talking about Mayweather, he's one of the greatest fighters ever. But he may have one person who got more speed than him, right? So this is my sparring partner for my speed training because I'm going to keep improving my speed, right? But then he got another person who's stronger than him, but not as fast and not as skilled, and not, technical skill or whatever. So that's his sparring partner for strength. He's going to take some hits from that dude and, so that he can enhance his durability, right? So having that sparring partner is prime to what we're trying to discuss to change that narrative. We don't look at people as competitors no more. We look at them as sparring partners. We're happy for each other. We build together, and that way, the ultimate impact is that we can impact more people, more things overall together. So yeah, this is gonna be good, man. It's gonna be fun.
Absolutely. So guys, listen, stay tuned. We're gonna be bringing y'all the fire. We got Beez coming with multiple businesses that he's running, a lot of different experience in the entrepreneur space and the business space. For me, I did the corporate deal for over 10 years, helping build up, health clubs and, all over the country. Had a lot of failures as well. Got a divorce in my first relationship, my older kids now, but has strange relationships with my children. I'm remarried now. I have 7 kids total. Been married 10 years now. So from a marital standpoint, from raising kids standpoint, from the mental health standpoint of dealing with all the stress that comes with building businesses while having a family, being a husband, being a father, transitioning to full-time entrepreneurship, struggling at times during that process, getting into bad business deals, but also having success of building multiple businesses and being able to help and build into the, different communities. We're going to be bringing all those things into this podcast. Like I said, we holding nothing back, and we really appreciate you guys sharing this for the people that you feel like can resonate with this. The only fee we got for this podcast is that you share to other people that could get the same game. I'm gonna let my man Beez take us out. Let's do it, bro.
Let's do it, brother. Like Van said, pay it forward. That's the only fee. That's what we charging. Pay the love forward. Pay the information forward. Information is that new currency, y'all. Listen, this is the things that we did not know. The things that Van and I have stumbled through. We're trying to share it with everybody else so that you don't have to stumble as well, right? Because that's the essence of collaboration over competition. We want to see people rise without having to go through some of the struggles, because you're going to have other struggles no matter what. But we're going to try and at least eliminate a couple of the initial ones for you. All right, so keep tapping in. Look out for more, much more to come with the Impact Over Everything podcast with Beez and Van. And we are out.